am Gail, and this is Christy, and we will be doing our common factors assessment.
Okay.
So, last time you were here, we discussed a little bit about your kids. We discussed what you're going through now, but I want to talk about the struggles you've had since you've had your first child all the way up to now.
Okay.
So, what hardships or transitions that you found difficult have you been through, or that are still bothering you?
Well, let's see. Anna's 5 now.
Mm-hmm.
The pregnancy with her was rough. I was sick all the time, every day, all day, for all 40 weeks. So, hospitalized 3 times with her due to dehydration, things like that. But she's doing well. The first week was really hard because that's a big transition, going from no children to 1,
Mm-hmm.
and getting used to sleepless nights, especially having one that she had acid reflux when she was a newborn. So for the first week, she didn't sleep at all. And one night in particular, she screamed for 10 hours straight from midnight to 10 a.m.
Wow.
So that was definitely a transition of getting used to sleep patterns and not sleep patterns. But we were able to get her treated and get all that taken care of, so that was
That's
helpful.
good.
She's doing well. She's going to be in kindergarten in the fall, so she's doing well, getting big.
Can I talk about Anna a little bit?
Sure.
So, you discussed that the pregnancy was difficult. What did you find most difficult? Was it the sleepless nights? Was it the morning sickness?
I think it was the sickness.
The sickness?
Because it was literally sick all day long. I would have to pull over on the side of the road if I was driving somewhere. I couldn't keep anything down ever. I only gained 16 pounds with her my entire pregnancy, because I couldn't keep anything down.
Right.
So it was really hard. So I even had nausea medicine in an IV the day I had her, because it was still happening that day. So it's hard because it makes you tired, makes you not want to go anywhere, not do anything. You kind of withdraw from things because you don't feel good.
So even going through all those transitions and hardships, were you still happy that you went through with the pregnancy the way you did?
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Her delivery was a C-section, kind of an emergency one. She had, we had been there for 9 hours already because I had got induced, but there were some complications during labor, so we went to an emergency C-section. But I wouldn't change that decision for anything. My husband and I made an agreement prior to delivery that obviously we wanted to try to have a quote-unquote normal childbirth like everyone else, but if it was rendered and the doctor felt it was necessary, we would just go with whatever his recommendation was, and we would go from there. So
Sounds
she was
good.
healthy.
Well, I'm glad. So we've gone through the birth, having her as a small child with the acid reflux. Was that any different than going through the pregnancy? Obviously, you do have a child now, and you're not pregnant anymore, but you're still going through transitions and still needing to see doctors because she is sick.
So once the pediatrician was able to treat it, luckily we were able to find it at a week old.
Oh, that's good.
So we changed her formula. We did some environmental modifications to her room, as far as like elevating her mattress, letting her sleep in different elevated things that normally infants aren't supposed to sleep in, like a swing or something. But due to that, it helps her with her reflex a little better, so that she was elevated so she could sleep and get the rest that she needed. And so she had medicine, the formula changed, and we did some environmental modifications, and she would be awake every 4 hours, so that was a lot better.
Well, I'm glad you were able to find that while she was still so young.
Yes, very much.
You could enjoy the good times and not be exhausted. So Anna was rough. How was it just having her as a child for a while?
It was fine. It was obviously just a change from I went from being single to being married, and then 3 months after getting married, we got pregnant. So there was a lot of transitions at one time, which can be a little very overwhelming. Moving into a new house, like all of it just happened all within about a 2-year span. So there was a lot of change, a lot of transitions.
It seems extraordinarily fast
It's
to go through everything. Very stressful.
Yes, very much. But it's fine. I have a supportive partner, so it was really a lot
That's
easier to do
very
that with.
helpful, yes.
Especially because when Anna was about 18 months old, we found out we were pregnant again, and had told the family. And at 10 weeks, we told them because we'd seen it on the ultrasound, and then found out a day later that I was miscarrying, so I was losing the baby. So we had to go back and tell everyone that we were not pregnant anymore, because I ended up having emergency D&C and
Yes.
all of that. So
I completely understand. Did you regret telling your family at that point?
no, I didn't, because I mean it was hard to tell them that we weren't anymore, but my in-laws specifically, like my mother-in-law, had one after my sister-in-law, like when she was pregnant.
Yes.
After my sister-in-law was born. My sister-in-law had one, so there was a support within the family, and my mom was very supportive. So we just had a lot of family support, which helped with just adjusting to not being pregnant anymore, and then having someone to help with Anna, because I was on bed rest for a little while. So it was definitely help. I felt like it was good that they knew that this was happening, so that we had those supports in place.
It's wonderful that you had those supports in your system. I can't imagine if you hadn't had any of those supports in your system.
Oh.
But ignore her.
Wrong timer.
Did you do anything for yourself
I did.
besides those supports?
I did. I actually took a week off of work and just stayed. And for a few days, I stayed home. I did allow myself to actually go through the emotions of the loss and the grief, the crying, the whiny, what could I have done different, all of those what ifs that everyone has during those times. There were a friend of mine had just had one as well, not too long before me, so we had made a day to just spend the day together and just hang out. And we I think we went shopping, had lunch, just
that sounds like
major
a great idea.
Girl time.
Yeah.
To even process everything that had happened to both of us, so that was helpful. And then I went back to work that following week because I wanted to get myself back into my routine, because I knew that if I didn't, it would just be that much harder the longer I put it off.
So it sounds like you believe you made a good decision not putting off returning to work. Do you think maybe you needed a couple more days, or that you made the good decision and going back to work?
No, I think it was good, because if I'm away from my routine for too long, it just makes it that much harder to go back and deal with things, because it's one of those things that I had no control over. It was just one of those unfortunate incidents that happened.
And it's
just being
a
able
very
to
practical
accept it,
way to move on and to go with your life, because you still have Anna there that needs your help and comfort. So she's 18 months now. You've gone through this tragedy. What's next?
So, actually within there were a couple different jobs that I changed to, and a year and a half after that, so Anna was 3 when I found out, I guess. I was pregnant again, with my son, who is now 18 months old. He's huge. And so he, very similar pregnancy to Anna's. So in that we also moved to a house in the middle of my pregnancy, so that was very different. That was a major change, moving with a toddler.
There's a lot of big changes at one time.
Brand new house, a son being born 3 months later, and having a 3-year-old to move with. There was a lot going on, a lot of transitions.
So having a new baby that when you were pregnant, you went through all the same things. Did it help that you already went through them?
I think as far as my pregnancy, it did. I knew what to expect. I had caught it early enough that I wasn't just waiting. So when I was pregnant with Anna, having all the morning sickness and everything, I thought, oh, it's first trimester, not a big deal. We're going to get past this. It was not like that with Henry, and I just immediately knew what I needed, and so my doctor gave me some nausea medicine, and it did help. I was only hospitalized once for some issues with him, as opposed to 3 times with Anna, so I knew what more to expect from
Sounds like a
what I
much
needed.
easier pregnancy, as in you know how to take care of yourself this time, so it's not as hard on you or the people that you're with. So you give birth to Henry.
Mhm.
You have 2 kids now.
I do.
What is that like?
Busy. Very busy. Because Anna's 5 and he's 18 months, so he's into everything. He's starting to talk. He walks and runs everywhere. He's a little bully at times. Very much sibling rivalry there. She tries to be a little mother to him, and he goes and hits her and pulls her hair. So it's constant chaos in my house all the time. But
Loving
it's fine.
chaos.
It is. It is very loving chaos. I love it, and there are times where it's very frustrating, and you're like, why did I choose this? This is a lot. But
You went
I
through a
would-
lot to get to this point.
I did, and I don't regret that at all. So I am very happy that we have them, and very lucky to have them. And we wouldn't change it. Frustrating if he would sleep through the night, but other than that, we're good.
But it really sounds like you've done a great job taking your experiences, not only learning from them, but using them to better yourself outside in your job, in your relationships. And you seem to feel better with that.
Mhm.
Would you say that what you've done with childbirth and gone through has made you a better person?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We definitely thought, after the miscarriage, had considered not having another baby. We wanted 2 kids. In our minds, we had 3. Obviously, one's not with us, but we knew we just really wanted to try again, as hard
Mhm.
as it would be. We did want to go through that, and whatever it is, it was. Whatever it was supposed to be, it was supposed to be, and we would move forward.
That's
So.
an absolutely great way to look at it. Having 3 kids, it really makes you whole,
Mhm.
and all the parts of you are still there.
Mhm.
Well, I'm glad we had this talk today, and I look forward to seeing you our next session.
Okay.